Welcome to yet another live interview with Become a Fearless Father. And today I am accompanied by Channon Bailey, the founder of The Addiction Crusher. And who doesn't have an addiction? That's what we're going to find out. What kind of addictions are we talking about? And especially, how can we crush them? All right, Channon, thank you so much for being on. I'm first going to start off with a question. And that's actually, what is The Addiction Crusher all about? Give us the insight.
All right. Well, first, thanks for having me. People probably don't know this. This is my first live. I've done plenty of interviews and like podcasts, but haven't been live. So new. But I can't see the other screen, so it's like a normal video for me.
Exactly. No problem, man.
Yeah, the whole addiction thing mainly stemmed from my own 18-year addiction to porn.
All right.
In a nutshell, we'll probably get into it, but after 6 years of traditional methods, they didn't really work for me. So I had to find another way out. And basically everything I do now stemmed from that. Reverse engineering everything I did. And then over time, just branded myself as the Addiction Crusher.
I like that. And immediately coming with, of course, at least I've seen it tons. I mean, I'm going to say not all dad groups on Facebook, but I think I'm in pretty much the biggest and the most active ones on Facebook. And I think this subject in regards to porn addiction comes up once a week, once every 2 weeks. If I'm not like taking a lot. So it's something that's definitely going on and not a lot of people talk about it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd say men, at least 9 out of 10 men, if not 10 out of 10 men have looked at it or look at it, regularly. And this is for dads, but the number of women is increasing as well.
Wow.
And the main thing is people don't like talking about it. Especially that addiction porn. If we're talking about that, it's like I feel the least talked about addiction out there.
No, absolutely. Depends, because I think in countries like where I'm from, the Netherlands, we talk about anything and everything. However, I must say that I haven't heard many people in general anywhere about it. They'll talk about porn in the Netherlands. That, yes. Which it's that it's open, right? We got the red light district in Amsterdam, very famous. So we'll talk about that. I'm not sure if people talk about addiction. So the Addiction Crusher, is it just for that, or is it also for any kind of addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction?
So when I started about 4 years ago, it was just porn. And then over time, and especially this past year, I realized I can help more people. Open it up to any and all addictions, because really at the root of it, the same principles and strategies apply across the board. So there's really not a difference at the core. I mean, each person's different, and on an individual basis like that. But overall, it's pretty much, I feel, the same for any addiction.
Exactly. So I want to ask one more question, then we're going to go a little bit about who's Channon, but what is the definition of addiction?
I like that question, because it's weird, because usually when you bring up addiction, I feel most people think of like porn, drugs, or alcohol. To me, it's so much more. So the definition I like to use is, what is costing you results?
Oh,
and that really opens up the door and your mindset to, okay, there might be something else. And I usually throw out 5 things, like, is it costing you time, energy, focus, money, and or relationships? If you really, get with yourself and think about that, you can pinpoint other addictions.
Exactly. Gaming.
Yeah, there's like,
that's for me.
And there's so many, like, outside of even like food, shopping, gambling. It could be anxiety, it could be stress, acceptance, people pleasing, worry, depression. pretty much anything, or that's how I present it.
Yeah. No, I like that what you said. Whatever is costing you results. I like that. And what I've noticed for myself, so I just share it with you, right? So gaming for me on the mobile, right?
Oh yeah,
horrible addiction. I haven't touched it in a couple of months, so I'm hey, I'm Klaas. I'm addicted to mobile gaming, and I haven't touched it for 2 months. Yay! No, I'm kidding. So
yeah, I even forgot. I'm used to throwing out the list here and there. Yeah, especially work and social media.
Yeah.
I mean, anything tied to that. So
exactly.
Never ending list.
Absolutely. So we'll dive into this a little bit more in a second. But Channon, please share. What's your background story? And of course, all Dadpreneurs that are watching this, they would love to hear what's your family setup, right? Married, how long, kids, how old, boys, girls, etc. Right?
Yeah, a little different. So yeah, all that ties into me exactly. So let's say as far as addiction, I got addicted to porn about age 11 to 12. That led into, well, I wasn't sure exactly, and that tied into that whole hormone stage, everything. That led into other relationships, and then all through the years, it even led into my marriage. And pretty much destroyed the first 5 years of my marriage.
Okay.
And then it was around that time, and after going through traditional methods, they didn't work for me. Usually I'm kind of, I usually present myself against methods like groups, accountability partners, counseling. It works for some, which is great, but everyone's not in the same box. So I had other methods, and I found some of those, and that's how I present it. Now, during all of this, I'm also an entrepreneur. In a way, I feel like I've always been. I've done creative stuff ever since I was a kid. And out of college, I've had about 4 or 5 businesses. So I'm also in turn a dadpreneur because we have 4 kids. Our oldest one turned 7 on Sunday. And then we have a 4-year-old girl, another 2-year-old son, and then a new one, 3 months old. So
nice.
Big
big household. That's nice, man. I appreciate that. And you still married, I assume?
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned 5 bad years. I'm assuming now the good years.
Still married.
Awesome, man. Great to hear. How long you been married for now?
Oh, my goodness.
Wife's not watching.
9 years.
9 years. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm so happy I can't remember. It feels like 15 years already. It's going so well.
Okay, when did I do that business? What year? When was this? So.
Sorry to put you on the spot. As I said, let's hope your wife's not watching.
Next year, August 23rd, it will be our 10-year. So yeah, I remember.
23rd. All right, cool.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
August now. Yeah. April.
Now. Yeah. I was gonna say we're close because
no.
We were 8 years married on the 13th of August. So I was like, wow, we're close. We're not.
Got the A's wrong.
Exactly. No, that's perfectly fine. So, and I hope we can talk about this. So what are the steps? So I'm trying to find my line of thought within this, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, when I started a lot playing games, and according to your incredible description of addiction, right? Whatever's keeping you from results, that was definitely keeping me from my results, right? Yeah. My results of having quality time with my wife, quality time with my kids, spending enough time on my job, right? Being present with my kids in the playground, right? They're playing on my phone. That's not the idea, right? So what in that case is the first step? Because you can understand that somebody that has an addiction is not really aware or willing to acknowledge, right? So how do you go into going from addiction to absolutely crushing it?
Yeah, good question. Because I mean, usually by the time people come to me, they like, I don't want to say I'll have hit rock bottom or, you know, something bad has happened. And of course, it'd be good to catch it before something ends. Whatever that may be. I mean, in one way, I think deep down, a person knows. But then again, I don't think it can really be forced on someone. Because you can have, like, I remember with the porn, I had the family, they're like, oh, you should go see a counselor. You should get in these groups. And, like, I knew it was an issue, but I think it's different for everyone. You really have to come to that point or just something clicks when you're like, okay, this is actually affecting me in a negative way. And then from there, it really comes back to want. So, like, do you want to change this? If no one wants to change, there's nothing you can really do.
Exactly. So wanting to change is the first step, right? That's what you mentioned. That makes sense.
Yeah, the root. It goes back to that. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so what then? Now I know that I want to change. I want to quit playing video games all day, every day, right? So what are my next steps? What would you lead me through?
Yeah, I mean, it changes based on the person and how we go through. But for me, from the want to change, I went to a focus shift.
Okay.
In my case, I mean, it's different for everyone.
No, but your case is
I got tired of focusing on the porn.
Yeah.
You got to quit. People are like, it's bad. You got to quit. Blah, blah, blah. And if you focus on it so much, it's like all you're thinking about. So in my case, I shifted from focusing on the porn to focusing on my marriage.
Okay. Nice.
Basically replacing it in a more positive way. So instead of the porn, I decided to elevate my marriage.
All right. That sounds real simple. I don't think it's that easy, right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, everything, it can be simplified, and it's really, I mean, in a way, it's all really simple. But, you know, the action of doing it is definitely hard. That's with anything, you know.
Exactly. All right. So how does that work? So do you have programs, or is it one-on-one coaching for you? What is it? What's your method? There you go. Sometimes I need it. What's the method of helping those? And in this case, I'm talking to all you dadpreneurs out there. If you do have an addiction and you're struggling with it, right, please pay attention. Later on, at the end, we will share all the information on how to contact Shannon. So please pay attention for that. But what's your method of helping others with crushing their addiction?
Yeah, so my main program is 84 days.
Okay.
4 weeks. That's really the middle ground. I also have like a year-long experience that expounds on that. And then also have a 20-day accelerator, but it's not one-to-one coaching. It's more do it on your own. But really, my focus is the 84 days. So I basically meet the person where they're at, you know, get to know them if I don't know them. And we basically, in a nutshell, go back to the root, try and figure out the root of why. Like with me and porn, the gist of it was I was looking for love. Because I grew up, like most people or a lot of people, dysfunctional family. There's divorce, abuse, alcohol, affairs, all that. So for me, porn was me searching for love, you know, on a deep level. So we go there. We don't spend a lot of time there because the thing I found with groups and counseling, you dig in deep and it gets real sad and, you know, you're stuck in it and you kind of just stay there. So I like to find the origin of it and then we go from there. Once we hit the root, that's usually an opening experience. And then basically the rest of the program is expounding on like purpose and vision and goals. Big words, but that's the nutshell of it. In the program, you also get a unpublished book, only available in the program. Mm-hmm. Really taking daily actions towards new things. So we want to shift your focus to ways to reach new goals and give you more of like purpose instead of totally focused on the addiction itself. And there's like 7 parts of that. That's kind of the foundation. And then each week we talk. You have direct access to me. And I throw in a bunch of, I say, unconventional exercises. Ones you usually won't get, well, you don't get in like groups and those types of things. And those are really just to wake your mind up to something new. A lot of it's really mindset and getting you to see the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And going back to the beliefs and like limiting beliefs you have, you'll find it's all connected to your addiction. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to like say specifically, it's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it kind of sounds like the big difference because you just mentioned like consultants, right? Or consultancies where you go into, what's that, psychologist or something that you go to for that or something like that. And they try to find like the deepest point and then stay there. Of course, they want to stay there because the longer that they can keep you there, the more you're going to pay them because the longer you have to stay with them before you finally get out, right? And you just immediately trying to get them to the solution and get them moving forward. I like that, man. That's so important.
Yeah, it was weird because when I first started, well, I guess even before I started helping people, people kind of heard my story and people we knew came to me. And this was before I even had a thought of doing this. So I was trying to help them. I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And a lot of them went to counseling because that's what everyone, at least where I'm from, says do. And a lot of them are still in counseling. Mm-hmm. They, come back or talk. So yeah, that's like multiple years.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I have no experience, so I can't say for a fact like, okay, that's it. But what I've heard and what I've seen is that that's the intent. You go there for life. It's not like you go there and they get you a solution. So I'm loving what you're doing. It's very important. So
that was the issue with the groups too, because I did different church groups and other groups for like men, very similar to like AA, NA, same guidelines. And early on, a lot of the people in the group, they're like, oh yeah, this is great. I'll be in this group forever. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I thought we're here to quit stuff, And that just rubbed me the wrong way. So yeah, I'm sure they're still in it, but I thought, where's the stopping point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You want to move forward and not keep falling backwards, right?
It's the thing with recovery too. I don't like how people are like, oh yeah, you'll be in recovery forever. Or I've been 20 years in recovery. I mean, that's good. I understand. But why are you in recovery still? Why aren't we just done with it? Yeah. So that's kind of my message and what I butt heads with people.
No, to me it makes perfect sense. Right. Saying that from like, I don't have a major addiction, as I said, gaming, but as I said, on my own, I haven't touched it for 2 months and it won't happen again, and maybe I'll fall back. But that's the thing that I want to talk to you about as well, right? Because that happens. You get addicted, you notice it. I'm talking more about, not the biggest addictions, but the regular people that sometimes just go into that addiction, maybe drinking too much for too long or playing video games for too long, spending time on Facebook too long, right? It happens, and then you're like, oh yeah, I gotta quit this. And then you quit, and you get that habit going on, you got it all good at, and all of a sudden you fall back, right? And you get really, really upset with yourself. You probably know what I'm talking about. what's your method or system for dealing with that? Because for me, I've noticed that just gets me into that black hole where you don't want to go back into, right?
Right. Yeah, I was just talking about that this week. Because until I quit, because like I teach this in my programs too. So like with the program, or especially I'll come back, that 84 days, I give you everything I know. Now it's up to you to do the work. So you might like crush your addiction quick. It might be longer because it's up to you, but I give you everything. And since I've used all those myself, I've never fallen back into whatever it is, or porn. And then, well, I'll come back to that because I found out I had other addictions as well.
Okay.
But yeah, the guilt and shame, especially 6 years when I was cycling, the cycles got better and better, gap year. And, I'd mess up. And then, oh yeah, here comes all the guilt, all the shame. I've done so wrong. So for me, what I did, I didn't hear this anywhere. I just kind of came up with it myself. I'd mess up and I'd be like, I'm not going to let this get me down because I'm trying to quit. It makes sense I might mess up. So if I get this guilt and shame, I'm going to be, depressed for like a week or more. Yeah. And it just goes on and on. So basically when I messed up, I would just tell myself, no. And like after repeating that over and over, like my rebound time was like 10 minutes or less. Because you got all these outside people telling you it's wrong, bad, blah, blah, blah. So that gets in your mind. And I guess that goes, that's what you just call it, stubborn persistence. I was like, screw that. Yeah, I messed up. So what? I'm doing better. We'll get it next time. And I just told myself that, over a few months. And it's amazing what that does. It's like creating a new habit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I keep telling people, give yourself some grace, right? Also happens when you're as a dad, right? Sometimes you try to be the best dad possible. Sometimes you're not, right? You flip, you yell, you scream, you throw something. It happens. And then we get really guilty and feel ashamed of ourselves, etc. And also that's kind of the same, right?
Yeah.
Was it stubborn? I can't.
Too.
Exactly, right?
Especially working from home because my office is here at the house. I'm at 4 kids. It gets crazy. So
I can only imagine. I got 2.
Me too. But same thing there. And especially with them, just make it a new habit. Like it might still happen, or you're stressed or something's happening, and then they bust in and it goes crazy, So I've made it a point to, I'm aware of it like instantly, and then I apologize like instantly, definitely helps. Especially if you explain it to the kids, I did wrong. I shouldn't have done that, So,
well, that's great advice.
It gets better over time. Well, they say I'm crazy, but just do that over and over, and it gets better. Big picture.
Exactly. So let me ask you, because a lot of dadpreneurs, me included, we work from home, right? Dude, any minute my kids can storm in and say, show some toys, etc. Right? It happens. But how do you make sure that, 4 kids, of which at least one is home 24/7 at the moment, right?
We homeschooled too. So
okay, so 4. So 4 are home 24/7. So how do you make sure you stay productive, right? You get your hours in to work on and in your business?
Good question. Well, first, if I can do it, anyone else can. Like you have no idea. Like the only like any noise, anything totally drives me up the wall. But yeah, if I can do it, anyone can. Yeah, it's I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, on the flip side, my wife is here. So of course she's very, I mean, she handles them mostly in that capacity. So I guess she's my secret weapon there. And like with like calls or most time like this, you know, like these very important hours or whatever here, they usually go do something, or like right now they actually have a haircut, so they're actually not here, which is little things like that. I'm trying to think of, I don't know, there's really not a
trying to figure out. There should be something more. I don't understand. Actually, it's kind of easy. No, but that's what it is, right? It's communicating with your wife. Like 5 minutes before, or I told her like on a Sunday. What we do is on a Sunday, I tell her like, okay, these are all my coaching calls, right? These are all my calls that I'm being coached, right? And this is my live interview, right? And now I'm. Like before, I used to have sometimes a week of 8 live interviews. So I need to, now it's only Thursday at this time, right? So I just, right now, 5 minutes before I open the door, hey, starting my live interview. And she knows she's with the kids and it's all calm. Before that, of course, with the 8 live interviews a week, that was a little impossible. So it was a little bit more rowdy. But that's what it's all about in the end. It's just having that secret weapon. Cool.
Yeah, it goes back to whether you have a spouse or not, planning and prioritizing. I used to not do it, but now I have calendars here on the wall. And then we actually talk about the schedule every Sunday.
Yeah.
So we've been journaling together.
Nice.
So we write it in there so she knows, because she used to not know, and I would just disappear and hear her somewhere, and that doesn't help anyone. So just knowing what's coming up, what's important, that definitely helps. I mean, really easy. I mean, you just gotta do it and make people aware. Exactly. But yeah, it's a big game changer if you can do that each week. And she knows, because like I have different things through the week, so she knows like I'm like, this one's really important. So they might go somewhere, play with the or something, or like some, like it doesn't really matter. I can do it if they're screaming or whatever. So it just depends.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, know that if they would have popped in during this conversation, I mean, it's all good, because that's what it's about, right? I keep telling people in the beginning, I got really stressed, and they came in, I'd be like, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's called become a fearless father. Father meaning I got kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, they can be on the show. And even in my coaching calls, they hop in. And not just mine, but also my clients. I'm like,
it depends too. Because I know some people get offended by it or whatever. Personally, I don't care. I mean, if it was like something major, you know, like, I don't know, had to be real quiet. Yeah. But, yeah, mainly it's for me too, because I'll just lose my train of thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense. And I can understand as well, for your clients, it's completely different. I mean, they're talking about their addictions with you, and then all of a sudden your 7-year-old comes in. I don't know how I feel about that, right? But Mike, we're talking about life. We're talking about how we're going to plan our life, what kind of fun things we're going to do with our kids, how we're going to grow our business. I mean, the kid hops in, it's like, shoot, it's actually not bad. Right. You know, you pick something up. That'd be cool, right? You don't want to have your 7-year-old already hearing somebody talking about porn. I think
no,
a little too young, right?
And it also goes back to the person, because everyone works different at, you know, better at different hours. My best time is usually in the mornings. So I know their routine. They're usually up a little before me. They watch TV, eat their pre-breakfast snacks, and we do breakfast, and then they usually do the same thing till mid-morning.
Exactly.
And then it changes, but I also work best late at night.
Okay. Nice.
But that's just me. And they're in bed by 7:30.
Oh, okay.
So, just kind of work around that, depending on what it is.
So that's awesome. So, if I may ask, right, you just mentioned like the first 5 years of your marriage were pretty rough. You're 9 years married, so that's at least 4 years that I hope that are going a lot better. Can you share a little bit? How did you turn that around? Because well, one, I would say you have an amazing wife for sticking with you, right?
Oh, yeah.
I hope I can say that, but so
yeah, one of the keys there. She's definitely headstrong and hardcore with staying together. So that helps. Not everyone's like that.
True.
So that's definitely, I'm sure, helped my side, even when I didn't know. Oh wait, I blinked out. So yes, yeah, that was big, and then turning it around. So yeah, after there was a few things that went into when I crushed my addiction, but as far as focusing on my marriage,
yeah,
I really just became more intentional towards her.
Okay.
And even for like a month there, she didn't believe it. She's like, what am I doing? Hard to trust me in that capacity.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I was just stubborn with it too. I'm not a complimenter. Like we didn't really do it growing up, so I don't usually give compliments. So like little things like that, complimented her, made sure I was around her, more intentional with my time with her. Flowers too, but I mean, people get iffy on that. I don't say just go buy flowers. It was very intentional and but it's really more about my time, and it's hard to describe because people are like, how can I be intentional? But it's just having that mindset of being intentional towards her. Because I could be in the room with anyone or any scenario, and you're there, but you're not really there.
True.
I think it came down to actually being present. Yeah. That's how I would describe it.
Exactly.
So that was a big kickstart to getting things on track.
Exactly. How does one do that? How does one make sure that they're present?
Mainly, it's kind of like the addiction thing too. I shifted my focus to her, and I'd say I remember the first few weeks I was trying to be intentional. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I felt I was actually faking it till I made it. I know people have different ideas on that, but I think if you fake it for so long, it actually becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Then you start actually doing it for real. Because it felt out of place for me. Just, I don't know. That's hard to put into words. That's where I always.
I definitely understand what you mean.
Intentional and getting that. Mainly for me, I guess it was just constantly trying to think of her. I mean, no different than the addiction, really, because in addiction, you're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to think about her.
Exactly.
Which is not easy if you haven't done that, or shifting it to anything else. But it's just being consistent and repeating it. And then one day it'll click.
Yeah, one day you grow it in a habit. Yeah, I wouldn't call it I understand why you say it, fake it till you make it. I wouldn't call it that. I would call it freaking being consistent and just, pushing yourself to doing something that you're not used to doing. Like you just said, right? If you come from a household and growing up where nobody ever gave you any compliments, right? You yourself won't learn to give compliments. So you're not going to be very easy in spreading compliments, right? So then you have to push yourself to do that. That's not fake it till you make it. That's just first working on it and whatever you need. Like I'm trying to be more curious with my wife and more intentional with my question asking, right? Because what do? Our loved one comes home and we ask, how was your day?
No.
Oh, we know that answer. And conversation is dead, right? Instead of asking, okay, so, what was the most amazing thing that happened today? Right now she has to think and really she starts talking, my colleague came and blah, 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 blah. Now you got a conversation going, right? But I got it right here with my kids as well. What can you teach me today? Somebody taught me that question. I thought it was a great question to ask my kids, right? I got it right here on my board, not kidding. Why? Because what you just said, fake it till you make it, but it's not fake it till you make it. I got to push myself to remember that question and to ask that every single time until it becomes that habit, right? So, man, I think that's great advice.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense. Because if you don't exercise and you want to start walking, you just start walking, but you're not fake walking.
Yeah, exactly.
You're actually walking, and then over time it'll get better, easier.
Hopefully. Absolutely. So yeah, man, I love that. So 4 kids, man, that's absolutely nuts. How do you make sure that everybody gets their attention? And besides, let's start with that, man. How do you make sure that?
I was going to go into this with that one too. So in those first 5 years of our marriage, I probably dated my wife 1-2 times a year.
Okay.
Which sounds absurd to me looking back, but I also run into, people all the time. They're like, we're just so busy. We dated like once in the past, who knows what. So yeah, I was a good example. Mine was more due to the porn and that taking over my reality. So yeah, even last year, I went on over 45 dates last year. That included with my wife, each kid, not the baby, but each kid, and then family dates. So yeah, if I can do that, then anyone else can too, because I was the last person to ever think of that. And that's very simple. You just put it in the calendar.
I love that, Shannon, because you keep repeating that. You've simplified everything for yourself. Again, it's not easy, right? But you look, it seems, okay, I'm not going to pretend here like I know you for your whole life, but it kind of seems from this conversation like you trying to find the simple path towards achieving your results.
Yeah, I feel that's always been my goal. I think my goal in the past 4 years or so have been, can you make someone stop their addiction instantly? No. But I think that's guided me to simplifying things, So yeah, that has to be the root of that. Now in my head, it's not simple. The actions are, but it's all spinning up there. But yeah, I try and simplify it. But yeah, that one actually is simple. You got to track it. So even before your work, I know it's different if you're out there working a 9 to 5. That's given 9 to 5 every day. But especially if you're an entrepreneur working at home, put the family in first and schedule the calls or whatever around that. And I used to feel bad. And even my wife was like, that doesn't really sound good. You're scheduling us. You're, booking a time with us. I'm like, yes, because it's going to get done. Because it's like with anything. If you don't make time for it, put it in place, it's probably not gonna ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually worked better for me because I knew, okay, I'm taking Ollie to the movies Friday, 1:00. Probably do something else. So 1 to 5, Ollie time. So I have nothing else to think about. Dedicated back to that intentional time being present with him.
Exactly.
So you just put it down.
No, exactly. Simple. You put it in your calendar, and then it's all a matter of executing, right?
Just we had our last child in May.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do any dates around there because I didn't know what like April, May, and June were gonna look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I got like maybe 1 or 2 in. It was expected, but that was all that happened. So then I put them back on the calendar, and I've already gotten a handful this 90 days. So
nice. Yeah. So I gotta ask, what kind of activities do you do on your one-on-one time with your kids? What does that look like?
Usually for my oldest, he loves movies.
Okay.
So we usually go to the movie or get lunch. He's gotten more into gaming, so we'll go to the game shop or pick out a game or whatever. My daughter, usually it's cupcakes or ice cream. Right now she's really into Chick-fil-A, so we'll grab lunch and usually head to one of those girl stores with all the accessories and unicorns and stuff. So anything that way. Freddie, he's 2. We haven't done many like go out dates. So in that case, there's stuff you can do at home. I like to just, I don't know, it depends. He likes playing with his little toy sets. So I mean, that's like, I sat down 20 minutes and gave him undivided attention.
Exactly.
That's all he wants,
Yeah. True.
It doesn't have to be hard or extravagant.
No, exactly.
It depends on the kid. Family dates. We actually live pretty much at Disney World's back door.
Oh.
We have annual passes, so we can go anytime. So we go there a lot. Maybe eat out here or there. It just kind of whatever they like.
Exactly. And is Disney open all year round?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we don't have
that. I think it's only closed like twice due to like a hurricane or something. But yeah, they're always
okay.
So
yeah, listen. Man, I would love that. Yeah, we got a year pass, but only the zoo is open all year. And the amusement parks are open 5 months a year, so mostly around the summer. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
we're in between 2 big cities, and there's like a ton of parks, and yeah, they're open all year.
Nice. So. Yeah, that's a lot of fun, man. I personally love it. It surprises me how sometimes for other families it's like supposed to be the best day, but it changes into like the worst day ever, right? You see dads yelling, moms yelling. It's like, I love that. So, man, we're at the end. Time flies. We're having fun and sharing great tips with each other. I'm going to share this real quick so you can talk about this. This is your website. It's in the comment section, and it's not yet active. Pretty soon, but I just don't want to share it with people. But what's the best way for dadpreneurs out there to follow you, and if they're brave enough that they have an addiction that they want to get rid of, to talk to you about it?
Yeah, so first on the website, new site's going live in the next week or 2.
Nice.
First time I haven't had one out there, but we're changing everything, so it's down right now. But outside of that, you can definitely find me on Facebook. I'm on there as the Addiction Crusher, but I'd say just find me personally, Channon Bailey. I always check my messages, check the other box. So that'd be the best way to reach out now. And then, of course, once the site goes live here soon, everything's on there. And there's also going to be a free addiction audit. So, like, if you're wondering, like, well, he said, is it costing me results? I have like 20 questions. Probably different than something you've seen before to really dig in. And that'll definitely help at least have you think like, maybe I do have an addiction. So
I like that. Great. All right. Well, again, man, thank you so much for taking the time for being on here and sharing your knowledge, experience, and especially being so brave as to just opening up completely and sharing everything about your past and how you've overcome it. And again, man, I love what you're doing. I think it's so important that you help others with their addictions, and the way you talk about it, that's the most important, being open about it and you're sharing. So I appreciate you. For everybody else that has been watching, listening, either right now, later on here on Facebook, or if you are watching this on YouTube or listening to this on the podcast, thank you. I appreciate you all. Make sure you click on that website and check it out. As he said, in 1-2 weeks, that will be live. So great place to start and check it out. And you can, as he said, check out the audit. Anyway, thanks again. Have an amazing rest of the day, and I will talk or see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.